talk about. We'll just keep talking. We'll just keep talking. Just keep talking. Talking. For so long. Oh, we're babbling on. We're babbling on.
Fuck J.K. Rowling, that fucking cunt. Like,
so just random.
I just
Kinda
don't understand.
Your expansive mind making these books, and then you choose to be this narrow and like purposefully obtuse. It's just kind of insane. But also, I'm like, yeah, what are the ramifications of that? Because like we know that like having billions of dollars can affect lawmakers.
It can addle your mind, but like you were just saying, like Beyonce is an example. I mean, of course, I'm sure she's insane in certain ways, but she's with us.
She's with the culture. I think that like it's been clear that she hasn't like abandoned, obviously, like Black culture and Southern like Texas culture. You know what I mean?
Even I feel like as she's gotten bigger, she's like leaned into like Black culture and queer culture and all these like subcultures more as her.
I would say, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but I would say that if you really look back, I mean, I think that when people think like, oh, you know, Lemonade and Formation kind of marked the beginning of her getting into like explicitly Black themes.
Is that what people say?
I think that was the conversation. You know, the SNL skit, like the day Beyonce turned Black, and like when she was doing the like "Don't shoot us" and like in Information, like, and it was full like
I'm putting on voice now. Sorry,
but I will say, I think that if you look back, like even in certain videos in B-Day, like they're on plantation. She's very clearly making a point. Like she's playing with alligators.
I mean, was that like, Deja Vu where we're getting ahead of ourselves, like, but she's dancing in the sand.
Antebellum.
God, that's fucking.
But her old shit was like, and I mean, Check Up On It's like some of that old shit's a little ghetto in like in a great way. But like, do you know what I mean?
Everything.
Like she was rocking grills. Like I think she left it when she did I Am Sasha Fierce. And like Halo, you know, best thing I ever had.
Does Halo have a bad rep? I love Halo, but I feel like people are kind of like Halo.
I mean, I think it has the reputation that like, I don't know. If I was to compare it to like, I think that if you were to say like your favorite song is Halo, it's like saying my favorite Taylor Swift song is like Shake It Off. Like,
or like your favorite Lady Gaga song is Bad Romance.
Yeah,
like kind of like just like it's too obvious.
Like Halo was like a regular ballad. Bad Romance like changed and shifted pop music.
No, Bad Romance, it's like good for you for saying that.
I mean, that's like a core, but I think
or it couldn't be like saying like Single Ladies maybe.
Ooh,
I don't know.
That's a different podcast because I could go on about like I am not Beyonce's best album.
That's where you're standing.
That's where I'm standing. I like that album. No, there will be no Beyonce slander.
No. I can babble anything out.
Of a woman who has like pretty much 10 out of 10 albums, I would say that one's in 7 for me.
Yeah, so we haven't even addressed. Okay, first let me introduce you.
Yes, okay. We're so ahead of ourselves.
Okay, so greetings, Babbles. Good morning.
You can hear my glass.
No, it's kind of nice. We get the texture of the room that we're in. Today, I'm joined by one of the first people I met in New York, actually. Very before I had even moved here. And then when I did move here, I recall this really distinct memory of being at Acme and Formation was playing. And like, I guess Lemonade had just come out. And I remember you were there. And maybe you were releasing a song or something. Yeah,
I was starting to get in the studio and I had demos of things and I was performing them sometimes.
But anyway, she's an old friend and we've reconnected this year and it's been so lovely. And I just interviewed her for the new edition of Piss Mag.
Amazing interview.
Which is sitting right in front of us.
You're a great interviewer, but we've been new. We knew.
No, but it was so fun to hear your story and like, we won't retread everything that we talked about in that interview here, but like if anyone is curious, there's some really interesting stuff in that conversation.
Well, it's fun to sit down with like, you know, there's only so many interviews you can do where you're like kind of emailing very specific answers back and forth, or, you know, I've done a lot of interviews with people I that are strangers.
Yeah.
But I feel like because we go way back and also we had so much to catch up on, it just was kind of like
because it had literally been like 10 years and it was like, wait, so where did you go? Where did I go?
Because
like,
we might have run into each other, but we hadn't spent time together post 2020.
No. Post like 17, I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, really in that way, yeah. I feel like I would see you in the scene, but
we would see each other, but like, it had been a long time. And so it's really like special and full circle. And it's also like, I never get to sit down with people over like a margarita and do an interview anymore. It's always Zoom. So it was so fun to just like get to do that for real and like actually be around your energy.
I haven't done an interview that's spoken in a minute.
Yeah.
I think I did one over Zoom, but I find that the bulk are emails, and then I get so in my head about trying to sound,
Email interviews are so stupid. It's bad.
I get it for certain people. Like, I love reading a good old-fashioned, like, maybe they're not emails, but to me they seem like very well thought out. Like, but it's also she's brilliant. But like Juliana Huxtable, I feel like she does some interviews where she's just giving you like mind melting. Like,
I guess it depends on the person. If they're like, what they want to do is write out like a really intricate paragraph essay for each question, it's like then that works for them. But it's like for people whose in-person energy is so much a part of who they are, like you.
And we're also tackling little fish, I think, for the most part. In that we weren't going way too at least as far as like it wasn't a full interview about like let's talk about the government and that.
I mean we do cover some really deep things. Like we talk about a lot about transness, about like
the discovery
and the different ways a person can feel trans and then we talk so we're with Merlot.
Yes.
Hello Merlot.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So glad you're here.
I'm so excited to be here and talk about one of my favorite subjects.
We weren't on a second. So Merlot's a musician, an actress, everything we love, and we have a huge topic to talk about today. But first, and read more about her in the Piss Mag feature.
Yes.
Who are you in the 8? That's Carrie, Miranda, Samantha, Charlotte, Hannah, Jessa, Shoshana, Marnie.
So if I had to pick one, because I'm going to do one and then I'm going to do like the sun, moon, and rising.
Yeah.
Out of all of them, there's like no good answer, by the way. Like everyone,
you can't win.
It's got to be, unfortunately.
What are you going to say? I'm so curious.
I would say Hannah.
Yeah.
Can I be so honest? Like, I think that I'm the voice of a generation.
Or at least
a voice of some generation. No, I think she's got, because I've watched all of Girls. I haven't seen every single episode of Sex and the City, but I'm familiar.
Have you not?
I mean,
you committed that original sin?
I think I've watched. No, I think I've watched like. I've had it on.
Shocking.
I think that
You've seen
it's a lot less. I know every single man involved in every story.
Like you're not ignorant.
To me, there's a lot more fluff than there is like in Girls, where it is such a driven narrative with arcs and like I think
that is true. That I think Girls is more of like this episode leads to this episode leads to this, like
they're tackling,
and Sex and the City has that too, but I'm just pulling this in a little closer. Sex and the City has a lot more episodes that are just like one-off episode, which is great, and I love that about Sex and the City. Is like you don't have to watch it in order.
Also, they revamp. I mean, I guess like what Adam Driver is Hannah's big.
Oh, he's so sexy.
Especially, I saw a tweet the other day, by the way, that was like, Lena Dunham is the only person that has utilized Adam Driver to his fullest extent.
Yes.
And really directed the hell out of him. Oh my God.
And when he's jerking off.
Oh,
I'm
when
rewatching
he's, having
season 1 right now.
Like the cuss out where his like, what's his girlfriend's name? Not Mimi Rose, but the other one.
Oh, not Mimi
where
Rose?
She's like, does he come in your hair? When that girl, where it's her and Amy Schumer confront Hannah, she's like, this is Hannah.
Girl. I never knew her name, but she's in Unreal.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen that show?
No.
It's like about it's a fictional behind the scenes look at The Bachelor.
Okay.
It's good.
Wait, that kind of sounds like my tea.
And she plays like the main character, the girlfriend who gets the cum in the hair, who's Amy Schumer's friend.
And her, Amy Schumer, by the way, being the funniest part of that.
No, she's
amazing. Well, she's not, but what if she was? And you could kill that baby.
Girl, she's so fucking good.
Oh, God, that
and the
show
guy
is so
from
fucking
Sopranos, Michael Imperioli. I just watched his episode.
Yeah.
Jenny Slate, like.
I mean, when the introduction of Hannah's gay ex-boyfriend, what's his name? Book of Mormon.
Oh, Andrew Reynolds.
Andrew Reynolds.
Yeah.
No, so he wasn't supposed to be in it. I don't think as much as he was.
No, but they hit it off,
and he improvised the line about your father's gay. And then they made it like seasons later. It was improvisation. They were just doing that scene over and over again, just like trying to insult each other. That's true.
I'm freaking out.
And he was like, they went with it, and it was funny. But no, that was an improvisation. And so then, like, what? I think season 5 or something. This is the thing.
You know your shit. That's why
this is like
that's why
an autistic person's wet dream podcast, because I really like get obsessions for a while, and I will go deep into it.
Oh, that's when the best episodes happen, because it's just like we need to like peel back the folds of the onion and really get in.
I think, well, to finish your question, I think I'm Hannah just because if you watched it, you know
I
what she is.
would have gone ahead and said Carrie, and then I would have said Samantha.
See, I think I'm Samantha Rising. I think that's probably what I give off to the world, maybe. Very Samantha. I don't think at the core of it, though, I'm not as, like, girl boss nearly, or, like, as confident, or as, like, really put together, like, boss lady, money maker, hardworking, like, you know, when the man calls her, she's like, "Who is this?"
Right,
like,
right.
He's like, "I left my like."
But
that's
you ooze confidence. You do.
Thank you. That's why it's the rising.
Yeah,
that's why it's the rising. And I'm a Leo. I mean, I think that I'm a confident person, but I do think that there's a level of quote unquote girl bossery to her that is just not inherent in my like quest.
See, I think my rising might be Hannah. Actually,
okay. Well, my moon, I was going to say, is Shoshana.
Your moon is Shosh.
I think I'm frantic. It's kind of a man repellent when you get to know me. Kind of like
that's
really
kind of heaven.
I would move anywhere that I visit. Like I've done it before. I would just like visit somewhere and be like, I'm setting up camp for a while. I think I'm an adventurous person that's confined to a way of life that they think that they should be living in their like internal battle of
but you know, Shoshana grows up. Shoshana has the biggest change of maybe any of the 8.
At the end, I think she's the most likable. Also, I'm the girl that's, if we're gonna be at a fire island stay away home or wherever they go off, who like initiates a full fight on like that like has a too many drinks. It's just like, and you're an uninteresting person.
That
like
fucking scene is the thing that happens.
It's one of the like.
You guys have full conversations in front of me, like I'm not even there. And sometimes I think my social anxiety is holding me back from being around the people who would actually be good for me.
She made some comment to Marnie where she's like, "You haven't said anything interesting in the last 4 years." Like, and I was kind of like,
the duck.
I would say that.
The duck. You know the duck.
Wait, the duck.
When Marnie is cooking duck for the 4 of them, and there's like the gay guys there, and then Shoshana's like, "This duck is the nastiest piece of shit."
That's me. That's like the core of me, but I suppress it a little bit. I think that the most though, I think that Hannah in that series just being kind of flippantly like so delusional about things. I think either good or bad. Yeah. Like she sells herself short. I think she has this like talent for writing, and she's very like dramatic and over exaggerates. I would be the person to be like, you know, when Marnie walks in and she's like, "This is not one of your convincing fake showers, Hannah." Like that's like me. And then her having like a mental breakdown, getting a Q-tip stuck in my ear and having to go to the ER. That would happen to
my
me.
Friend.
That would absolutely. It's any day now. It's not if, it's when.
You need to keep Q-tips away from you. It's like when Did you ever see Sleeping Beauty? You know how it's like the needle? Yeah, and it's like she can't. They're like they burn all spinning needles so that she won't prick her finger, because the prophecy is like she'll prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning needle and die. And so then they burn all of them, and then she still ends up finding one at the end. Like, that's you with Q-tips. We need to like destroy all Q-tips.
I'll be that person. I mean, I think Hannah and I unfortunately have a lot in common, but I mean,
same.
But that's
like literally
I try to exude Samantha, but
you give off Sam. I think I'm Carrie Sun, Hannah Rising, Charlotte Moon, maybe. Because I'm a pure romantic.
You're a trad wife, if anything.
I wanna do that.
Marry someone way below your like your looks and intelligence.
Someone below my stature. Like I'll be marrying like a mouse.
Like not shorter, but like you're just marrying like the most like rich but like not handsome man.
Yeah.
You like convert religions for him.
Well, I was thinking it could go a little differently than that, but sort of.
Well, I'm not putting that on you, but that's very Charlotte coded. Wait, I was just remembering when they're in Sex and the City 2, or I think it was 2, and she can't find a car in Saudi Arabia or wherever the fuck, and she pulls out her leg.
Oh,
they're wearing like
I saw
they're
this
wearing
clip.
full burqas, and she's like, "Watch this, hey boys." And
Carrie
pulls
does
up
that, or
her
Charlotte?
leg. No, Carrie with her Louboutin on pulls up her leg with like nothing underneath, and then a cab like skirt. Like,
I'm sorry,
comes over.
it's just like I never want to slander anything from that universe on here, but it's like that does a disservice to what the show was. The show and the first movie were so good.
What do you think about? And we'll get into B-Day, but what do you think about? And just like that.
And just like that, I actually think season 3, episode 1, which is the event I was at where I got really it's season 3, episode 1. That's where there was an open bar and I got really drunk that night. I thought it was the best the show's been so far. Really? I think it's improving.
Did they get rid of Che Diaz?
Che Diaz is gone. Yeah,
we are in 2025. Trump's America.
Che doesn't live here anymore.
Che's gone. Damn.
Che is over and Che's gone. Yeah. What did you think? Did you see it?
I haven't seen the newest episode. Okay. I watched the first season, and it was just like, I mean, it was good baby food. It was just slop, and it was like easy to just numb your mind if you don't.
I'm an extra in one of the scenes.
Really? Wait, I feel like I knew that.
LGBTQ rally.
I feel like.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Were you on? You were on camera, right? Did they got you
briefly,
like okay?
Briefly. Yeah.
I feel like I remember you posting something about it.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Anyway, so Merlot,
we've gathered here today.
What are you babbling on about today?
So I'm going to be babbling at length as best as I can about my favorite Beyonce album and what I do think is. We could argue and we will whether it's her like genuinely best or whether it's just my favorite.
Sure.
But B-Day. Which was so formative. And something I haven't told you, or maybe I mentioned this the last time we saw each other.
Good.
A little bit of my own lore dealing with this album is at the time that it came out, I want to say, what was that, 2000 and...
It was 2006 that this album came out.
So I was going to go ahead and be in middle school at that time.
I'm going to go ahead and be 13.
I was 11.
12 or 13.
I was turning 11, I think, that year.
Yeah.
I was turning
13.
And those singles were coming out, I think, starting 2005 or something. Like, because she released it in September.
Can I give you the quick timeline? Because this was actually really important for me. So we'll get into like Beyonce as a whole a little bit too, but it's like, so she had one solo album out.
Yes.
Dangerously
and I
in
didn't
Love.
realize this until recently, where she went back to Destiny's Child.
Yes.
I didn't even put
she
that
went
together.
Back. So Dangerously in Love, where she has the shimmering like shawl thing. And I remember being like a 10-year-old or whatever and seeing that on a billboard in Milwaukee and being like,
Insanity.
Insane.
The prettiest a person's ever looked, but except for B-Day.
I mean, oh my god, the color green was invented by B-Day.
Oh, 100%. That emerald
like
and like
green. So anyway, so Dangerously in Love is June 2003, and then she goes back for Destiny Fulfilled, the final Destiny's Child album. Then Pink Panther films in 2004. Funny enough, yesterday I recorded a Pink Panther episode, so we did get into this a little bit. And then that comes out 2006. Check up on it, and then there's a Destiny's Child final tour, and then Dreamgirls films late 2005, and so she records B-Day.
Makes a lot of those music videos.
It gets delayed. She was going to do it closer to Dangerously in Love because she had like songs scrapped from that she wanted to use. But then Dreamgirls happens. She doesn't want to write an album while she's filming Dreamgirls. And then she makes B-Day after that in response to Dreamgirls and like inspired by in 2006. And it comes out on her birthday, September 4th, 2006.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. I think sonically, though, it's interesting you say that like there were some leftover songs. I'm sure probably a lot of those are scrapped because it couldn't be more different than Dangerously in Love.
No, the original plan had been like, oh, we'll use these. And then she goes and does Dreamgirls and Pink Panther and is like a completely different person.
My dick off. I think that at that point, too, she was still being underestimated as just like a pretty face and a dancer and a performer, but people hadn't like put as much respect on her.
Yeah, where was she at? Well, first... where was she at in terms of star power at this point? Like, was she like known as
she was household name?
Yeah, she was
at this point. She post Crazy in Love.
Yeah,
I think she was probably like, I would say maybe like, I might be butchering this because I was not really cognizant at this point, but I think if we were talking like late 90s and before Dangerously in Love, I would compare her fame to like that of Charlie XCX right now, where it's still niche because it was very like R&B hip hop, like Soldier. Like I don't know that was like the full mainstream yet. Like Crazy in Love.
But Charlie XCX now is pretty big.
It's pretty big. That's what I'm saying. She was still big, and she was still
really
charting
big.
on Billboard, and she was still. I mean, she's probably still bigger than Charlie XCX is right now. However, I think that Crazy in Love marks the beginning of like number one single that was your first solo single. Yeah, and it was like number one forever, and then it was like pop. It had pop, obviously like
but
R&B,
it was like
hip hop influences.
Full 4-quadrant,
like full radio play, because you had to listen to a specific radio if you wanted to hear like I need some soldiers in here where they at. Like I don't think that was being bumped on like the regular pop charts.
When I saw her in the Dangerously in Love Billboard, I don't think I knew who it was right away. But I was like, who is that? And then from there I was discovering who it was. Or maybe I did. I forget.
Kind of no shade to any party involved, but it was kind of that time where every new artist kind of looked like that. Like you had like Ashanti and you had A. Marie, and do you know what I'm saying? Like there was like a babbling on of like all of who's gonna be the number one light skinned like caramel skinned woman that's like singing but also pop crossover, and it was like I don't know if it was like Keisha Cole was around this time, like Carrie Hilson back then. Like you had so many things going on.
To the pretty girl.
Yeah, I mean that was
speaking of girls,
but. Girls.
My name is Carrie. Remember that? I just watched that episode. Wait, so what were you going to say about your intro into B-Day, though? I cut you off.
Yeah, before we talk specifically about the album, so at the time, it was 2006, I was raised very religious.
In Florida.
Yeah. Single parent household. I think my grandma was living with us
Which
at the
religion?
time, but
Catholic?
like Christianity. Yeah, Christianity. And I think it wasn't like full Southern Baptist, but it was like... pretty close, like speaking in tongues, you know what I mean? Like it was very conservative.
Speaking in tongues.
Oh,
we're going there.
We're going there. We're doing every Sunday.
Doing that
every Sunday, speaking in tongues. Maybe not me every, but like
did you do it sometimes?
If I did it was just because I was a talented singer, never because I was like so stricken with the speech. I was always like looking for that, but that's another.
I mean, that would be kind of major if like the powers came over you and you started speaking tongues legit.
I mean, I used to wish that it would just to see what it was like. I wasn't like afraid of it, but I never got. I was always also too distracted by the music. I always wanted to go to like blacker churches. I was so. I think it's the vibe of like a live concert almost that just really like got me going. But it was usually white. Then I started playing saxophone in the church, and
You're a talented saxophone. Like you trained in classical saxophone.
I used to be a lot better, but yes, I was
That's
very.
That's in the Piss interview, people. Go check it out. Yeah,
I was very, very intense. But that being said, I spent like all my time in church, like, and because I was playing sax, we were doing like Wednesdays rehearsal, then like youth group on whatever night.
So you were in the damn church.
The goddamn church.
God, that's crazy. That wasn't me.
So to lay that groundwork, I was not allowed to watch MTV or VH1. I was not. My mom had to vet the music that I listened to because again, we weren't streaming yet. You had to buy the music.
No, it was CDs.
It was CDs, it was like kind of iTunes was around then.
A little bit. Yeah,
it was the beginning of iTunes where
but I was not
like $1.
Discovering in that way. I don't know. I guess like the CDs that I bought were All American Rejects, Move Along.
Thank you.
Which, by the way, that Move Along like I'll give you a dirty little secret.
Yes,
like that album is heaven. And then I think I bought like The Fray.
Well, yeah, I was very eclectic because we had a bookstore near a Goodwill bookstore, but they had a CD section, and I would just go there. I got Jagged Little Pill. I got Mariah Carey's first album. It was A Vision of Love. I got like I had The Fray album. I didn't love it. But I had like everything. I got into the Beatles. I got into like the Doors. I was doing all of it.
I did the Cranberries because my parents really liked them.
Well, the old school shit was what I was allowed to listen to. Yeah. Most of the old school stuff. I feel like because music obviously prior to like mainstream music was not like raunchy. It wasn't like the 90s.
The
I feel
way that it is.
No, and the naughty aughts like whatever. Like the aughts is when every girl had to be like pussy on the screen at 18 years old, like to sell a record. Yeah. But
I mean, watching the B-Day videos.
Oh,
she was like living in her body, and it was like she felt fully autonomous, but it was still like, damn, like you had
and that was the first project where her father wasn't her manager, and she
did it in secret.
She did it in secret because she told like in an interview, she was like, my heart sunk imagining my father watching them. I like I was so nervous for him to see because I knew he was going to be like, holy shit. Because up until that point, she had done like, bodycon dresses and she was sexy, but she was like singing about very, very sexual,
but
like kitty cat.
Isn't Destiny's Child like... There's some stuff in that videography, right?
I think the worst that it gets, she might be doing like crop tops, but they're not doing like writhing on the floor talking about your vagina specifically.
Right.
Or if it was such a far gone metaphor that it was like not that big of a deal.
Okay, sure.
But so even for her, like this was a departure into a much more sexualized lane.
Yeah. And she's 25 here. Like, she was born in 81.
She was...
And this is 2006. So she's 25.
So she's 25, yeah. So... I wasn't allowed to listen to B-Day. My mom wouldn't let me have it. It had that. I don't think it was explicit content. Like, you know how they put the little explicit... Because she doesn't cuss enough on it. But my mom saw like one music video and was just like, hell no. But I was such a fiend. I would go on like school computers and use like a fucking VPN or whatever I could. She was a school teacher at the time. And I would like open up private windows and try to like clear things. I remember one time I got grounded because I didn't clear the history and she saw that I watched the Get Me Body music video like again. And I got grounded. So that's my personal lore, which made it all the better because it was this like
that made
unattainable forbidden fruit. No, for sure. And I like wanted to get my hands on a fucking copy. And the only way I could listen to it was sneaking. But then also what's funny is, you know how at the time on iTunes, you could preview 30 seconds of a song.
Yes,
so I knew
know about
like
that.
And they would start that at like the 45-second mark.
Yeah.
And so I knew every part of B-Day from the preview of it, like, but only that part.
Those 30-second chunks.
I remember the first time I heard all the songs in full, I was like, oh, this is the rest of it? Oh my gosh. Like,
that's like you showing me right before this the full picture of the dress that she's wearing on the B-Day album cover, which I just assumed was like a little halter top tank.
Is it in and of itself, I think.
Fashion.
Because she's obviously like, at this point, she's a billionaire. So like her tour outfits.
She's already a billionaire?
No, I'm sorry. I mean like at this point, currently, we come to expect nothing less.
Yeah.
But I do think for the time, I'm hard pressed to think of any other musician that was pulling 9
Gaultier.
Like straight off the runway, very obscure, like Jean Paul Gaultier, like Dior, Burberry custom, like,
which we'll walk through some of these looks when we get to song by song.
Like think about, I think Britney Spears was like maybe a Versace girl, but that was maybe about it. I think
Madonna
that, like,
was doing some work, I want to say,
but she had been around since the 80s, but so she was rich as fuck.
Yeah,
she do whatever she wants.
Oh sure.
You think Beyonce's 25 and she's not like
to be said about like a girl who's a little broke is maybe gonna pull better fashion.
Well, she was hungrier.
With unlimited money.
She was.
You know, it's like how Sex in the City, even like the early seasons are so good, and they had no money, and now it's like they look amazing still, but it's like they have so much money that it loses some of the texture.
I think that's like when we see Beyonce now with like the level of like custom. Just polished, but you also know that there's like 300 minds working on these like everyday tour outfits that change constantly.
So many, it goes through so many like.
It's also now a little bit of like a hat in a hat, in where it's like she's trying to outdo herself over and over again, and it's like caricaturizing like the cowboy outfits now.
Exactly.
And, like,
I mean, and she looks amazing, and it's all like heaven. Like I'm not trying to. It's just like there's just something to be said for when you have constraints that can actually like help.
And taking such risks. I think that she was dressing... Oh, you know... Okay, I won't put disrespect on her name. The only other girl that was doing it at this time was Gwen Stefani. Was Little Miss Vivian Westwood.
Miss
Gwenny was doing the kooky... Because she was doing like the kookier, daring outfits, but they were like full designer.
Yeah.
Like, you know, But Beyonce at this time, I think she was so fucking hungry. And so when you look at like...
She was like... The thing with Beyonce is it's like... Imagine being Beyonce as a kid and not having... succeeded yet, which maybe we can touch on like how she like started in these like singing competition girl groups, gets discovered, her dad like becomes her manager, and then Destiny's Child kind of comes out of that. But like imagine my point is like inside knowing you're Beyonce and not having been given your flowers yet. I mean like I have to do this or like I'll have wasted my talent.
Entire life too. I didn't go to school. I don't have any friends now. Like I spent my whole life like cut off from the world, but because I wanted it so bad.
Which, by the way, why is that us? Like, we need to realize ourselves like Beyonce. I'm like, wait, I need to be like Beyonce.
No, I literally, it's insane. I don't think I've ever been. I mean, I'm hungry, obviously, and I make music, and so
I'm hungry, but I don't have the ambition like Beyonce does.
Well, also,
I mean, she's ambitious as fuck.
Quite frankly, none of us have the talent. But I do think it's like, half of it's God-given, just like born with talent. The other half is like spending 6 years running on a treadmill while singing at full like
Is that
volume.
what the lore is? 6-year treadmill?
Probably more than 6
Yeah.
years. I think she does it to this day. But when she was
Wow.
like in her teens, early
To,
teens,
like,
her
get
father
to
made her
that.
run on the treadmill and
So
sing.
he was
her
a
whole
little
set
like,
list.
but it's like on the one hand, it's like, damn, dad, like back off. On the other hand, it's like, well, it worked.
Well,
like,
the other
there's
hand, now she's like
Beyonce.
maybe
Yeah.
it's like kind of her and Gaga, and I would put her as a better vocalist than Gaga technically.
See, this is where things are gonna get really dicey because I'm
Okay.
gonna say that Gaga,
I think that you
Wins.
can like Gaga better.
the big girl, wins.
I think that if we're looking at
I guess,
Beyonce's
yeah.
melismas and technique and opera and
In terms of like, yeah, I guess like
vocal
the
range,
instrument,
yeah.
I'll give it to Beyonce, but I like
Well, Gaga's
Listening
I think,
to Gaga
deeper of
more.
an artist as well, which makes it a little
Yeah.
different. Like Gaga has written every single song she's
I
ever
think
sung.
Gaga has a deeper, and this is like a futile things. We don't need to pit them against each other.
No, for sure.
They're both
Well,
the two biggest ever.
I didn't go to Cowboy Carter tour, but I got my my Mayhem ticket, so there's that.
You have your Mayhem ticket?
I have my Mayhem
Wait,
ticket.
when are you fucking going?
Ooh, I have to check my Ticketmaster because she's here for like 4 or 5 nights. But,
I need to get a fucking ticket now.
do it. Well, I was in like a
Who are you going with?
like machete through a thorned forest bloodbath. My friend Delante and I got a ticket. I just bought 2 at once, but it was like I was going from day to day and waiting in line for so long. I was in there. I had the pre-sale link, but I was
What
in
did
the
you
waiting
pay?
room.
I'll babble this. What did you pay? What'd you pay?
For 2 tickets.
Yeah.
It was
Total.
$1,800. Fuck! And I'm not on the floor.
See, this is the thing.
We live in hell.
Oh,
She used to be
fuck.
at Madison Square Garden in what, like 2011 for like
See, I've never seen her at Madison
$180.
Square Garden. I have to get a fucking ticket now.
You could get GA for like 180.
I'm gonna just buy 2 tickets and like find someone who wants to buy the other one off of me. and go
I
with
think
it
it's also
then.
going to be so much more intimate because
Yeah.
you think about it, like she's been doing what is it, stadiums, arena? There's a difference, I forget, but
Yes.
I mean, I
She's
know
been
that there
doing-
is a difference, but
one is bigger.
one's like 20,000 people bigger,
Yeah.
but maybe not.
Stadium.
One like fits 20,000, the other one fits like
Okay, wait.
it's something. But
I get you.
she hasn't
Yeah.
done Monster Ball, or she did Monster Ball. at
I
Madison
saw
Square Garden.
Monster Ball, but that was
That was the last
Milwaukee.
time.
At wherever the fuck, what was that place called? What's that place called? I don't remember.
The Cheese Dome,
The venue, the cheese factory.
the Cheese Factory, the good old Cheese Factory.
So anyway, B-Day was forbidden fruit for you.
Yes. And it made me just so much more interested in it. And I think because of that, that's where my like that obsessiveness came from, and just like dissecting it, especially once I got when I did have the resources to just like look into it. And
Had Dangerously in Love been huge for you? I mean,
No.
obviously everyone like knows Crazy in Love and like the big
you know
hits
what's
from
funny?
that.
I've gone through phases with Beyonce. I would say that she was always in my peripheral, or like
Yeah.
all the time. I
Yeah.
think since I was old enough to remember, Destiny's Child was making music.
Yes.
And so
Same.
I
like I always knew she was there. That's
Yeah.
why actually let me recant from the record when I said like I didn't know it was Beyonce on that billboard. Like I did. I just like didn't know the depth of who Beyonce was
Right.
yet. Yeah.
I think that like she had always been there, right? And one of my biggest favorite things to do was to go to like, they used to have this store called like E something. It was like it stood for like entertainment center.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
it was like it would be in malls. They're so defunct now because it was all just like records and CDs, and like they would have those headphones like this set up.
Yeah,
and you could like
yeah.
preview music before you bought it. You know,
fun. God, malls.
and I can't. But I love malls. But
Malls.
I would go to malls today if they weren't shit. But
We would be going to malls right now if we could.
if
And it would be
we
fun
didn't
as
live in
fuck,
hell.
yeah.
I know they took away our medicine just to feed us their poison, which is streaming services. But no, so we would go. I would go to like look at the CDs. So I always knew about Beyonce and Destiny's Child, and I would
Yeah.
see their things. But I wasn't like. I mean, I wasn't not a fan, but I was just like, oh, that's just this person that's just
Right.
been there the whole time.
Right.
And then Crazy in Love was like the biggest song in the world, and then I was just kind of like, okay, like, and I'm still to this day like. Crazy in Love is fine. It didn't like convert me to being a fan.
Crazy
at that
in
time.
Love is really good. I'm about to share my conversion origin story,
Okay.
but I don't want to cut you
Mine
off.
was well. I'll tell you the thing that converted me, and this isn't my favorite song on the album.
Yeah. Okay.
But when I watched the Upgrade You video for the first time, and she was in Jay-Z drag.
Yeah, and she at the beginning when she's like
I'll be
lip
the
singing.
D-boys who infiltrate a dog, the corporate dudes, they call shots. And then you can't fit your hand in your new purse.
Yes. She's like on the car. And she's
also,
like
I
the
was
whites,
learning so many words from this because she was like, I learned what the Amalfi Coast was from that song. I learned what Automapagay Watch was.
Coast, Mafia,
oh baby. Lorraine Swartz, Soda Dude. I learned like so many designer brands from that song.
Oh, that's what he's saying.
And then Lorraine Swartz, it's big ballin', baby, when I'm courting you. I'm talking fly bags and spy pads and rooms at the Bloomberg and rumors. You on the verge of a rumor. They're rocking your fingers like a tumor. No, I learned so much.
Your fingers like a tumor.
Oh, and she goes, Automapagay Watch, dimples in your necktie, Hermes briefcase, Cartier cufflinks,
Hermes and Cartier got through to me. Sometimes I can't understand what lyrics are in any song.
I've looked them all up because when she was singing that, it was gibberish. I didn't know those brands, and so I was like, but I think they had that site where you could do the lyrics and then it would show you like the annotation of what they were talking about.
Yes, like Genius or whatever. Yeah. Upgrade You, I do have to. Is that so? That's what converted you. That's
what when I saw that, because mind you, I was just to state the timeline.
Yeah,
I was piecing these videos weeks apart.
Yes,
so it was
on the school computer.
It was like time was going by in between me discovering another song from BDF that year. So that era stretched out for me as long as it could until she like. So
this really engraved into your cranium. And got in.
And I also think it was this is another subject, but like if we want to talk about planting the queer tranny seeds, I mean, let's talk about it.
Let's do that.
I remember this is so embarrassing, but I'm going to say it. I can't believe it's like this, but I remember there were times I was looking in the mirror, and I don't know why in my mind I would compare my body to Beyonce's, but I remember just wanting that body so badly because to me that was the epitome of sexiness. And while I was like attracted to like Heath Ledger at the time and like you know these men, I never wanted to look like that. And so even in my like 10 11 12 I remember there's a video, one of them where she bends over really far, but she has like, when her knees are straight and she bends over, there's somehow still an arch in her back, and like her behind is still like exaggerated.
It's like a 7.
But like there's still a curve of her curve. And I remember leaning over and just being a right angle and being like, how does she have this body? And to this day I still don't know, but like I just remember being so beautiful person ever. I would just watch and like study the makeup. Kitty Cat, like the cheetah print eyelid
cat video, which is 57 seconds long.
That was
the way that there used to be a music video for every song on an album. But
there didn't. I feel
it was
like
just her.
It was really just her. There used to be the singles had music videos, and then maybe another one that they would try. But this was not the
out video.
Well, you also remember that this was the beginning of like Vivo. Remember Vivo?
Yeah, I'll never forget Vivo.
Artists would put
Vivo not
that's
going
where we
anymore?
got the I don't think so. People are just doing their like own channels now.
Oh, sure.
I'm sure Vivo exists as a concept.
Vivo is like a nice sort of.
It used to be like Lady Gaga Vivo, Beyonce Vivo, and so because before that there really wasn't YouTube, you weren't uploading videos on YouTube. So B-Day came at the very beginning of uploading music videos on YouTube. So I think Dangerously in Love was just on TV. Like Crazy in Love and shit. I think it was only on TV,
like MTV,
like MTV, VH1, TRL. I don't think it was on YouTube
about
yet.
This exclusiveness of you had to be sitting at the couch at the right time to catch it on the thing is so much cooler than what it is now. I know that it's like blah blah blah. Like,
I like YouTube as an archive.
YouTube
now,
is great, but
there is something about being able to like just throw on.
Well, and just like videos were so much more of a moment back then because they were special and they were like specific to a time. You had to catch them. And I don't know. Now it's just like, I also think music videos back then were such a larger investment. It's tough to say. I would say that her label or whoever she was working under, they invested in her. They did.
Well, they must have had to know how good this album was because that again. I don't think it was really heard of for someone other than like Michael Jackson, but I don't think he has a single album where he made a music video for more than half. This
is her second album. And you know, she did this whole thing. Wikipedia says somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks total. She recorded the entire thing, by the way.
That's disgusting.
In Sony Studios in New York.
To take away credit from her, I don't think that she quite wrote any of them.
Oh no, she didn't. She had she had a ton of producers and writers in like studio. I was reading about the process on Wikipedia that she had like 4 studios next door to each other, all booked, and she would like go from one and talk to one producer, and then go to the next and the next, and then come back and like kind of create this competitive vibe between. And
she like didn't sleep that whole time.
No, she was on a treadmill singing
in the booth.
Yeah, in the booth.
I mean, but vocally was her best work. But yeah, no. To the music video point. that, and it was on a DVD. Thank you. You could buy the Beyonce Anthology DVD, the B-Day.
You could?
You could. I never owned a copy. I'm sure they go for like whatever the fuck amount of money now.
Oh, fuck.
But all the videos play in order, and I could tell you the order. It's,
go ahead.
It's
Fire
I believe if there's two different orders though. The deluxe album, for whatever reason, she puts the order
Why
completely
is it almost
out.
deluxe? Okay.
Yeah. No,
Okay, so
in my mind, it's Deja Vu, Get Me Bodied, Sugar Mama, Irreplaceable, Upgrade You. Is there a song? No, Upgrade You, then Freakum Dress, then Green Light, then oh my god, then
you got this.
Somewhere lower is Resentment. Resentment. And then what songs? Oh, Beautiful Liar.
The fact that Beautiful Liar is involved.
The fact that Beautiful Liar is involved. I think it was the deluxe, but that was
it is the deluxe. Wait, my computer died. That's fine.
I'm missing.
I have
Freakum Jazz
things I need to show us.
Yes.
I mean, there's what have you missed? You've got Deja Vu, right?
Deja Vu, Green Light, Get Me Bodied, Sugar Mama, Freakum Dress, Ring the Alarm. I missed.
Ring the Alarm
is a huge one. Kitty Cat, I missed. I think that's number 6. There's Resentment. I have 9. Beautiful. That's not on the stand.
My computer's dead. I will be pulling it up right now.
I can put it up on my Spotify.
My fucking computer.
I also might be butchering it.
While you're doing that, let me say, and I'll keep this brief because the previous episode that will have come out of this, I spent the entire time going into this. But
this is the order. Deja Vu, Get Me Bodied, Sugar Mama, Upgrade You, Ring the Alarm, Kitty Cat, Freakum Dress, Green Light, Irreplaceable, Resentment. Check up on it. I didn't realize that was in the original.
Well, so my Beyonce origin story, I think. I mean, obviously I knew Destiny's Child and I knew like Crazy in Love and all of that, but damn, my computer's like fully broken. It's not turning on.
My battery.
I like dropped it and something bad happened, but. Okay, so the Pink Panther.
Yes.
You're intimately familiar?
So can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
If I watched it, it was when it came out and never again.
Okay.
Because at the time, again, I wasn't like a fan enough to watch something for Beyonce.
Yeah. See, I didn't watch it for Beyonce, I think, but then when I watched it, it became watching it for Beyonce because she is a ray of light. Her smile.
I actually remember the truth.
Yeah.
That's not the truth, Ellen. I was not allowed to watch it. Because Beyonce was too sexy.
Damn. Do you hold any resentment about having been forbidden to watch so many things?
You know, it's kind of funny. I had this conversation with my mom.
Because you and your mom are close.
Now we're close. Yeah. I mean, so much has changed. I'm 29 years old, about to be 30. And yes, my upbringing was very, very, very strict in more ways than one. And not even to mention the gayness of it all. Because this is before I had like dipped a toe out of the closet yet, you know?
Right.
But I almost, in a way, it's kind of funny because it's like, well, look who got the last laugh. Like, I'm making more explicit music than is on B-Day.
Yeah.
It's kind of just, I said to her, like, not that long ago, I think it was actually when I was putting out Butterfly, where I'm like, I need you to touch it, squeeze it there, and let me pull your hair while I tie my underwear or under whatever.
Yeah.
Me not remembering my own lyrics. But I was saying to her, like, yeah, I guess there's a point to, like, not allow straight up children to like be able to expose to sex. But I do think it was I don't know, at 11, like not being able to watch MTV period, like there was so much other stuff going on. And like,
I mean, I guess Pink Panther is pretty raunchy at times, but it's also like it's so funny.
Well, you want to know what it made me do? I got into like dark shit. I feel like besides Beyonce, I was watching like the complete works of Marilyn Manson at this time.
Really?
Which my mom found that out once.
God, my computer is literally doing the thing that Carrie's does, like when it like die. Like, look, it's like doing that. Like, what's happening?
Oh, the question mark.
Oh well, I'm just gonna close it for a little bit. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. But yeah, I was doing like Marilyn Manson. She found that out, and we had like, I didn't even get like, it wasn't just trouble. We had to have like a sit down talk about like, are you sick in the head? Like what? Because she didn't know what that was, and she like watched one from the history, and I think it was like. Wait, what, rubber, sex, drugs, party, like he, like, Armageddon fucking getting.
I think because I was allowed to I never, like, I don't know, for some reason I didn't seek out music videos, really. I didn't, until, like, Gaga time is when I got into videos.
Well, like, I think in my spirit, I was always a musician, and I had been singing in youth choirs up until this point the whole time.
Yeah.
Sang as early as I could like make noise. I was playing saxophone by the time B-Day came out. So that's how long I played.
Yeah.
So I was just interested in music, period. So I was constantly looking for new music and expanding my horizons. I guess looking back, I wouldn't call it like I was trying to study, but I was so obsessed, like, and I loved R&B style things, but I also had like I think because of the conservativeness, it didn't really, I don't mind as much about the Beyonce stuff. Like that was just like, I can understand that more. Like when My Humps came out and I was so young, I'm like,
well, sure.
I'm that.
Like sometimes it's like, right, like we're talking about squeezing boobs and you're 5, like.
Yeah, but I do think like, when my mom actually yelled at one of my friend's parents because when they pulled up, I was carpooling, they pulled up and they rolled, up on the car door, she greets me, and D4L's Girls Check That Laffy Taffy was playing, and my mom told the parent, like, when my child's in your car, you cannot play like the regular radio. And I was
fuck.
Yeah. And then that mom, I think, stopped carpooling me because she was like, your mom's crazy. But
okay, so Marilyn Manson, though, is like scary as fuck, right?
he is really scary. And now we know, I guess we probably could have told that he wasn't a good person.
Heads off of bats.
That was Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, that was Ozzy.
That was Ozzy.
Okay.
But I think that they did throw a puppy into an audience one time and the audience members dismembered it at one of his concerts. That's like...
At Marilyn?
That's like... Maybe a rumor, but I'm pretty sure that happened to
that's like so
in the
disturbing to hear.
I think that happened.
That's a tough one.
That's not like
that's a tough
written
pill
in stone.
to swallow.
No, it is.
That's written in stone for me now.
Yeah, the fact that it's a rumor is bad enough. I think. I don't think anyone can make a rumor about a Merlot concert where that happens. I don't think but
or a babbling on episode.
But I think that the religious trauma made me just be like, I want to explore the opposite end of that. And
how do you mean?
Like, what's the most satanic thing you can think of besides Marilyn Manson?
Right.
Like, I think
that's what I'm saying. If you're over sheltered, it's gonna cause you to want.
I did a 180, and I was like listening to music. What beautiful people! It's all relative to the size of your steeple. Like, it's all about the taking down of like religion and the church. And I was so interested, but then I was still going to church on Sundays, and I was just like watching all
beautiful
crazy
people.
Shit.
It's all relative to the size of your steeple.
You can't see the forest for the trees, and you can't smell your own shit on your knees. Like praying.
What is that? Your lyrics?
No, that's Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson.
Oh, that's Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, that's like his #1 most famous song.
Oh, see, like I like.
It's the Black Skinhead sample that Kanye West used on Yeezus. The
that I do know.
The beautiful people.
God, Marilyn's scary.
Is
it worth me getting into it, or is it too late?
I think some of the music is absolutely hands down incredible.
Okay.
He has music that's insane, but I also can't. I'm not okay. Merlot is not publicly saying listen to Marilyn Manson because
she isn't doing that.
But personally, and we had this conversation the last time I was there. Where
which one?
The conversation, and maybe this has something to do with Beyonce. Like, we can probably get into it. Yeah. I won't try to stray too far off. But here's my takeaway, listeners. I think someone else put it much more beautifully than I can, but we do ourselves a disservice when we say that, like, because a person's bad, then their art is bad.
Oh.
We talked about this. And then on the opposite end being like, well, I like the art, therefore what they did wasn't that bad.
Oh, yes.
We have to be able to do one of the... I'm not saying that in every case you should separate the art and the artist. That's not what I'm saying. No. Specifically, like, when we think of R. Kelly, he's singing about little girls. That's right. Like, that in that case, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about Marilyn Manson having allegations against him, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, then fuck his music and he sucks.
Right.
You can choose not to give him money by streaming it.
I was actually thinking about this today because, like, I have always been a huge, like, art from artist. Like, I don't have to like the artist to like the artist to like the art. Right.
Yeah.
So
Gwen Stefani
or like Woody Allen.
Sure.
Or
Chris Brown.
Forever is amazing. And then I was always saying Harry Potter. But then literally today, something has sadly stepped. J.K. Rowling's been an evil, vicious monster forever. But like today, the news came out that she's like founding this $2 billion company just to attack trans people with the money that she got from Harry Potter part. So I'm like,
payment of the
now
book,
I'm like, you know what? That's a wrap. Like, I can't be out here like still like championing
there
Harry
is something
Potter
to be said.
Which sucks. It's so sad because I love Harry Potter, but I can't anymore. Yeah,
I think that I said this to who was it? I think I was talking to my roommate about this, where she was mentioning something about unethical things Beyonce's done. And we were talking about like
Beyonce was enough?
No, just in terms of like when remember when the that last halftime show happened and it was so American nationalist, much more than the tour is. On Christmas Day, she did the Cowboy Carter, like not the Super Bowl halftime show, but like
no,
the pre.
I didn't see that.
I watched it live, and there wasn't a critique of America in that medley that she did.
Oh, okay.
The tour is much different. I will give her that.
Yeah.
However, at the time, I was like, I can't get behind this. But however, no matter what critique I have of like certain people,
yeah,
I was like, oh, okay, well, this is much darker. But like when the stuff about her husband, those allegations came out.
You mean with Jay-Z?
With Jay-Z
cheating on her?
No, with him, like,
oh. Wait,
like raping a minor,
that happened.
A woman brought up like civil cases against him in court.
Oh, I fully missed.
It's since been dismissed.
Okay,
and she was the only one that's brought it to court. But she said she was like 19 when he took her, and he and Diddy both raped her, like back at like whatever.
Oh,
but it was proven to be like really outlandish. But I told myself, I was like, ooh, where am I going to draw the line? Because she then showed up to the Lion King premiere with him, and that's why that was so controversial. Because it was like 2 days after that blew up that he like potentially had raped this young girl.
Well, we can, by the way, babble anything we want that you don't want on the record. But I also do remember reading that, because in terms of B-Day and the chronology, like Jay-Z's heavily
he
on the
groomed
album.
the fuck up. Like,
I mean, she was 19 when they started dating.
He was 36?
And he was
34.
However old he is. I don't know. But they started dating when she was 19.
But there's photos of them together, like, I think when she was like 17, 18, 19. Like,
and they had been friends for like 2 years before that.
Yeah.
So...
Look,
no shade, by the way. Like, I don't know. Well, and like, age gaps can be fine in my book. But
I'm going to run it back. I think I remember, I used to think like, oh, he groomed her. But then I'm going to run it back and I'm like, I think that at the time, she was more powerful than him when they began dating.
I don't think he groomed her. That's not what I'm saying.
I think that she was someone who was rich from a young age and then had like agency and her parents around her from a not unwealthy background. And
she was rich from a young age?
She was not well off. I mean, if your parents like take you out of school to tour you around and put you in every pageant, and you grew up in like a very large southern like Texan home, and her parents were fine. They grew up in a ward that was not like a bad one.
Okay.
And they had like access and money to get them all this training and to fly them everywhere,
sure.
Without receiving monetary back in the moment. But she was not raised poor by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
She wasn't like maybe silver spoon, but she was like she had a spoon. She had a spoon. It was brass. But I do think that she had enough like money, agency, and all this stuff at the time to where I don't think Jay-Z could have influenced her to do anything. She had her own capital, her own fame, her own
but
like
she
celebrity.
Was. I mean, that is a young time to start dating someone at 19.
When your brain isn't fully formed,
but
that's like more than a decade older than you.
I didn't even know about those allegations, but
well, my point being with her was that if because then the next day she went out to a premiere with him, and I was like, okay, so clearly she's gonna stick beside him no matter what. Where am I gonna draw the line as far as like being her fan?
Yeah.
And I was like,
and where did you? Where
I drew the line was, this was around the time that Trump got elected, and then, or maybe I'm getting my timeline wrong. Anyway, when shit got bad and shit hit the fan, and then like the case hadn't been dismissed yet, and then she did the American nationalist like as fuck looking little promo like medley.
Yeah.
I basically was like, her catalog is something that you will pry out of my cold dead hands.
Yeah.
If I find out that she was also involved, I probably wouldn't stop listening to her. To be quite honest, I was like, there's some certain things that I'm not going to deny myself all whatever hundreds of songs that Beyonce has. Now, would I pay for another ticket of hers? No.
Exactly.
Would I ever pay for
putting new money in?
No.
But like, I'm still going to read the Harry Potters.
You like, well, if you already have the book.
I already have them. I'm not going to spend new money.
No, and you're not going to like blow a bank at the Harry Potter world.
No,
and Universal
I'm not
Studios.
going to do that. But I am going to loudly fucking trash this fucking cunt who's an evil monster.
And what's doing more for the culture? Is it trashing her out loud, or is it just not reading the book that you already own?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, I already read it 80 billion times. So it's like, how is me opening a book? Which, by the way, I don't see myself opening.
Also with like me listening to Marilyn Manson, I can still have like better politics than you. You know what? Like it doesn't mean that I co-align with anything that they've
Right.
done. However, I would never put new money into Marilyn Manson's pockets. We know how much these artists are getting from streams, and it's nothing.
Let's steer back into
sorry.
B-Day. we got into that, which is a whole other episode. But like, let's go into B-Day.
Yes.
Let's go track by track. Oh, but I was gonna
please.
say Pink Panther. My Beyonce flip on to being a stan or in the Beehive or whatever was in Pink Panther. There's Check Up on It, which is the credits, and then there's this song called Woman Like Me, which I don't know if you've heard. It's like not available on streaming.
Say, not
you have to like look it on YouTube. It's so good. We'll listen to it at the end, but
yes,
it's amazing. But it's not like on an album. It kind of got buried in Pink Panther. It's so good. Anyway, that's what made me like her. Let's go through B-Day track by track, starting with
Woman Like Me. Wait, really quick. Woman Like Me reminds me that there's two B-Day bonus tracks that I think are on streaming, but one of them's like one of my favorite songs on B-Day that didn't make the first cut.
What's it called?
It's called Hollywood. Okay. It has Jay-Z in it, and it's fucking incredible. We'll listen to it later.
Okay,
there's also Worldwide Woman. We'll listen to it later.
Okay,
but track number 1, and okay, cat's out of the bag, you guys. This is my favorite song, not on B-Day, but by Beyonce, period. Sorry. Because
That's
with the song and the
hot.
visual combined, had Renaissance had visuals, my answer might be different.
Does Renaissance still not have visuals?
Neither does Cowboy Carter.
What the fuck? But she was filming in Myrtle Wyckoff or whatever the fuck.
I have enough podcast material for that for a whole nother podcast.
Okay, so you'll come back for different...
If I start talking about that, we'll be here
I
only
started
with
to
that.
like prep for this and I was like, oh, thank God we're just doing B-Day. Obviously, we've already like gone on so many tangents, but it's like Beyonce's way too big to try and begin to cover the whole career. So we're really focusing on B-Day, but you'll come back. I mean, you're our resident Beyonceist.
So Deja Vu is my favorite song of all time by her, I think, for right now. I also want to mention that in terms of opening the album this way, I have a theory that I've kind of been proven right about most of the time, which is I think if you look at a lot of artists that have been around for, let's say, more than a decade, or just that they're humongous artists, like winning Grammys level, their second album, I think, is the most important in their body of work as far as lifting them into a status that would give them longevity.
Oh, well, it's seeing if you can recreate your first and you're not a one-hit wonder.
A lot of people can put all of their best work onto one, and it'll get everybody talking. I think, like, when I think of the power of, like, let's fucking Lady Gaga, look at that second album, cemented her.
Yeah.
Putting out Bad Romance is the single of your next project.
What I was gonna say.
I think cemented her into the zeitgeist.
Bad Romance cemented her forever. Yeah.
And it made sure she wasn't going anywhere. I think even like Lana Del Rey made some fucking incredible, like Ride was out the gate for her second project.
Yes. Although actually, I was thinking you were meaning, because Paradise is kind of like a B album to...
But so was the Fame Monster.
I know, but in that case, Fame Monster to me is a standalone album. In Lana's case, Paradise to me, because I don't like Paradise that much, I consider like a B-side, and I consider Ultraviolence her second album, because Ultraviolence to me is a masterpiece.
Well, then if you consider that her second album, then it still holds up.
It still holds up, yeah.
The only reason I say, I think, in my mind, I think if it's a second iteration in era that you've left behind the first body of work, and you've like... I think leaving a gap year or so in between, that's kind of like what I mean. But
no, totally.
I think...
Lorde, honestly, Melodrama.
Yeah. Like, even Billie Eilish, I mean, she had an EP first, but then When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?
And into Happier Than Ever,
and I don't think Happier Than Ever was that great, but I think as far as body of work to body of work, you can do it twice.
You can do it twice.
And so B-Day being her second album, and you can cut this if you want, but I think if we're talking about one that didn't work or cases that did not work, Rina Sawayama.
Oh, I haven't even heard.
Her second album, first album's masterpiece. Second album,
bad.
She's
Who
out of the
else has had a
zeitgeist.
really bad second album?
Ooh, that left the...
That left us.
Oh gosh, I mean, well, that's the thing is we don't remember them.
No,
I think if you like even Ariana Grande, we can think of like.
Was Dua Lipa's Future Nostalgia her first album?
No, it was her second.
Okay.
It was her second.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that all of these big people do this. So Deja Vu starts off.
Getting my notes up again.
No, please. I mean, as far as the content of the song and the sonic vibe of the song, it's somewhere between... I mean, it's all these live instruments, right?
The whole album was recorded with live instruments. A lot of it, which is really cool.
Which is also that
she was
wasn't
inspired
happening
by
most
a
of the
lot
time.
of things she like went through on Dreamgirls in terms of like, live instrumentation, and also wanting
you can hear the funk.
You can hear the funk and like all the genres that are explored in Dreamgirls, and also like she wanted to write a lot of songs that were like really feminist and like empowering because Dina had been such a like
weak,
beaten up, downtrodden.
I guess she has an arc, but like
she has an arc, but like she lets like men walk over her for a lot of the movie. Yeah. Anyway.
Deja Vu coming out the gate. What does he say? Bass, 808, hi-hat. Like,
let's go get him. You ready, B? Let's get him.
I thought just the musicality of that, I think it just combines such an old school, like classic funky, and then the horns, like
it is old school classic funk, like 50s, 60s twang with like, you know,
I mean,
modern.
I would say that this album in general like has about as much range as Cowboy Carter, as far as like genre bending goes. I mean, she's doing things like Sugar Mama could have been on Cowboy Carter.
I totally was not realizing how high up in the rankings this album is for me, because Check Up On It is my second favorite Beyonce song. Woman Like Me is my first favorite Beyonce song.
You're joking.
And so Check Up On It's on this. Irreplaceable is up there.
Yeah,
this Radio is up there. Like I love, and this era, and she's never looked more beautiful. The video of Deja Vu, she looks so
so let's talk about the video. I think that music video is such a revelation.
Yes.
She's so gorgeous. She's doing the most insane dancing of her career.
I know.
The flailing in the sand.
She's
like,
in sand.
Doing that, and it's like, it's all these different inspirations, because part of it's that like kind of African, like where she has the little, the like leaves tutu thing on, and she's shaking. And in the cornfield she's running through.
God,
she's like gyrating her body in a way that I think also, she and Lady Gaga are two of the only people that get this, is that you have to sacrifice sometimes just being composed and like controlling your angles and beauty
to go for like
awkwardness.
Full artistry.
She is allowing herself to.
She still looks beautiful, obviously.
Of course, she can't look bad, and so does Gaga.
Yeah, same.
But like, they're not afraid to flail and to look like crazy. I mean, if you had shown me, if someone was like, Merlot, do this, and then showed me that choreo, I would be like, A, I couldn't do it, but B, I would just be like, that looks so weird. I would feel so insecure. Even if I was like a dancer, I'd be like, that's just crazy.
This is why I think I'm sort of like, and I think you are too, but like a Beyonce Gaga level star, because I think my strength is like, I would flail.
Yeah.
I would flail.
I don't know that I would.
But you would still exude what is needed.
I would do more what Gaga does, which is like, what Beyonce would not do, which is like, put an octopus tentacle, it's huge, in your mouth, and make a video of yourself like throwing up and putting blood in your eyes.
You went to the 2017 Coachella performance?
You know, bitch, I'm telling you, I'm a fan. I'm a stan. I know everything they've ever done. I mean, if we're talking about like her
sacred texts in your mind.
No, this is the manifesto of Little Monsters. No, and then she has the Mickey Mouse shirt on that's wrapped around her with a belt, and then she's sticking her two front fingers into her mouth with the shirt on, and then pulling it out, and they're like black. I'm like, so Beyonce, I don't think would do that. Now Gaga, but I would do some shit like that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Beyonce, more of her things are just more animated.
Yeah.
Like if we even think back, you didn't watch it, but when she did the like Cowboy Carter, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and she's just making these crazy
Beyonce
faces.
Live.
Well, I only saw her live at Renaissance. That was my first time.
Okay.
And I've never seen Gaga live.
Never?
Mayhem's going to be the first.
Oh my God.
I mean, I think it's a pretty good way to pop my cherry. Because,
that's
back
a
in the
good
day,
cherry pop.
I kind of fell out of love with Gaga. And I did with Beyonce too. But I go through, I'm not afraid to...
You're not afraid to fall out of love.
I mean, I'll still be in love.
I'm a blind loyalist. Like, once I go in, I tend to stick.
No.
Although, honestly, that's not entirely true. Like, with Lana, I've definitely had seasons where I've fallen away.
I mean, like, did you like Joanne?
I did. Like, I stood with Joanne.
I didn't
with
like
Joanne. Now that enough years have passed, I can be like, Joanne's her worst studio album.
Well, Joanne was a product of like a mental health battle, but that's fine.
But you know what? A few things. Sinner's Prayer, Diamond Heart, John Wayne.
I like Diamond Heart. Dancing in Circles is my favorite song on that album.
Okay, but Dancing in Circles has like this burp sound in it that really disturbs my ears.
I feel like she does a burp or like a yawn or like a like all the time.
That's a scratch, which I like. But she goes like.
I have not noticed that because I haven't listened to the album enough.
My favorite on the album is either Sinner's Prayer, John Wayne, or Diamond Heart.
I like the video for John Wayne. I did think it was a little bit like domestic violence vibes, which maybe I'm sure she was intending that, but it did feel a little like...
It was tea.
Maybe
It was tea.
It was tea. It was
Anyway,
tea.
so Deja Vu.
So Deja Vu is perfect in the music video. So
And some
I
of
want to
the
talk about the
outfits,
fashion.
yeah.
I did pull up. I'm not going to go through every single one.
No.
But I sent you
You sent me shit.
the references for my favorite. And obviously, I guess if you're listening, you can't see this. But she opens
look it
up.
Like, just look it up, people.
The very first look I think she wears is the Roberto Cavalli.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It's she paired a Gaultier piece with a Roberto Cavalli 2003 corset
And which
worn
one
with
is
a feather pheasant dress. So this
Yeah.
with the striped legging. Also, I think that
She looks
to
so
talk about
good.
her fashion in this, like whoever, I know it was Tina was styling her, but that's insane.
Tina was styling.
Tina styled that whole thing.
Tina was pulling Gaultier.
So Tina's
her mom, for
Tina
anyone
went
who's
on
an
record.
idiot. Yeah.
Yes, Miss Tina Knowles.
Yeah.
Miss Tina, I should say.
Miss Tina.
We don't know each other like that. But Miss Tina went on record and said that when they started out in Destiny's Child, no one would lend them. So she was sewing all
Wait,
these
why?
clothes. No
What
one
the
would lend
fuck?
them anything. It wasn't until B-Day that and I think post Dream Girls and she, attended all the Academy Awards and shit. Like, post all of that, I think that was the first time in her career that she had, like, the doors swung open to, because it's one thing to have enough money to afford to buy something. It's another thing to ask a designer to lend you an archival piece it's priceless. It's another thing to ask them to make you a custom piece that's priceless. And
They
one
have
of
to
one.
want to do it.
They have to really like you, and
Yeah.
they have to trust that you will represent the brand in a light that they
it's
agree
a
with.
contract. It's
Yeah.
an emotional contract. That's a dream of mine, is for a designer to be like, I want you to wear this
Yeah.
to represent our house.
I'm waiting on someone from Mugler. I know
Is that
Casey
your dream
Caldwell's
brand?
out there. It's a brand that I think would do it.
Yeah.
It's not my dream brand.
Who
but I
would be
think
your dream brand?
Dream brand is Jean Paul Gaultier or
Yeah.
Cavalli.
Gaultier. From
Gaultier's or Vivienne Westwood, but she's
Vivienne
dead.
Westwood,
I don't-
Gaultier, or... I mean... Who's cool now? I mean...
Well, there are smaller, younger designers that I
Yeah.
love, but I also feel like it wouldn't be as
Mugler would
Lofty.
be great. I mean, it would be cool to have, like, peak Dior or Prada.
I wish that I was able to have like the archival Mugler just for photo shoots. I wouldn't go out in it, but
Yeah.
like if I had my access to, I think from my body type and the way that I style myself, my level of femininity,
Yeah.
I want to be a Jean Paul Gaultier girl.
Yeah.
I align mostly with a Roberto Cavalli girl. I have a couple Cavalli pieces,
Roberto.
and that fit of those dresses is like tailored to my body. They
Yeah.
always look so flush. They're always jewel toned or just like so sexy. But yes, sorry, Beyonce did have a couple red carpet moments where she would wear like Versace and things like that. But in general, Miss Tina was like, most of the time, that might be for like the Grammys red carpet.
Yeah.
But they're not lending those things for like a tour. They're
So
not
she
making
would
you
be-
outfits.
She wouldn't be wearing designer for
No,
those
she
things.
wasn't wearing
Wow.
designer. I don't think, and she's not wearing. If she's wearing designer in the crazy, she is wearing designer in the Crazy in Love music video. But I think that's like the that sexy ass orange dress in front of the fan. It's like orange what is that, Versace or is it?
I can't remember.
It's one of those big three. But
She's wearing Gaultier in the Deja Vu video
She's
with
wearing
that like blue corset and baggy
Yes.
sleeve. Is that Gaultier?
that's
People
Gaultier.
aren't gonna know what we're talking about, but like just fucking
It's
get
like
over it.
it's the very first look in the video. Then she has this. This is the look that she does.
That.
when she's in the
In the
field and
sand.
she's doing the sand.
what
It is,
designer is that?
It is two Jean Paul Gaultier haute couture pieces from 2006, straight off the runway. So this
Okay,
is
yeah.
when she's dancing on Jay-Z. She wore the blue one, and when she's in the field, she's wearing this green one that looks. It's like a two-piece. But I will say that one thing that we're missing now that Beyonce understood, and most artists that like have their own money now, a lot of times when you pull things on the red carpet today, there's the full outfit agreement to where you have to wear the head to toe how it went down the runway.
Oh, see,
Like-
that's not so fun because you should be able to reinterpret things.
Of course.
Yeah.
But if you partner with a brand, especially at the Met Gala, or like, I mean, those are
They're like,
more
well,
custom.
this is how we see it.
This is how, yeah. So a lot of places
That's how
are doing.
Sue sees it.
Thank you, Glee.
That's how Versace sees it.
But a lot of like there are a couple brands that won't. Oh, my bad. There's
Who
a
is that?
Not Beyonce. I don't know. No, but Beyonce was mix and matching, so she would wear like a Roberto Cavalli top with a Versace like
Which is
skirt.
the fun of it, to reimagine what these pieces can look like in a different context.
And between her and Miss Tina, like that eye was crazy to know that like, oh yeah, this might have went on the runway just as a dress, but like, what if you put a very Gwen
And she's
Stefani
wearing some
a
of
la-
this stuff backwards in the videos
Yeah.
I was reading in those texts you sent.
She sure was. And then so Deja Vu, the fashion was incredible. I think that was her Hungriest Dancing, and then there was the live performance of Deja Vu. I think it was at the BET Awards when those used to matter. And that's like what Sasha Colby copied on the Beyonce runway. Was that performance look where she basically just has like pasties and things down like as a top, or she's got like basically stickers down her body. And she's doing the full-out choreography. She's sliding on the floor, and she's like, "Baby, I swear it's," and she's not missing a single fucking.
she tried.
And then she went like, "Swear it's deja vu," and she was like opting up for higher notes.
Oh, I can't wait to get to check up on it and show you what I can do.
Yes,
there's like a war happening outside. Okay, so let's move on.
Yes.
Unless there's one to say on Deja Vu.
I just think that's my favorite song, and I think that it proved how hungry she was, and I love the funk. That's just my genre. I like that. The
funk is perfect. By the way, I love the funk of Killa off of Mayhem.
Ooh, yeah.
And the hunger is there of like, it's just such an exciting moment to watch a person who like clearly is going to be one of the all-time superstars in history. Yeah. And it's like kind of her... She's had one album as a solo artist, but here's like the opening track of her second album, and she's doing that theory you said of like, I'm still here, like I'm not just a one-hit wonder.
And it's far more empowered. I don't think there's not a single like breakup song on this or anything. Like I think all of her other albums have like a heartbreak.
She's pissed, but
I wouldn't even consider Resentment like.
And Irreplaceable, I guess, is a little bit, but still, it's like...
When you think of, like, the sadness on Dangerously in Love, when she's talking about, like, me, myself, and I, that's like, wallowing.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I can never disappoint. Yeah. A little bit. But the next song on the album is Get Me Bodied.
Get Me Bodied.
Such a vibe shift, but also, like, still in the same wheelhouse. Like, they exist together, but...
Is this where
It's the Bob Fosse music video. Where she's doing all of the Bob Fosse, and she's got, like, the Hepburn. She's got the ponytail with
and there's that cool
the halter.
Guy dancer who's so sweet.
Yes, love him.
Oh,
he was sexy.
We love him.
I'm doing a disservice by not knowing his name, but he is someone that's been by Beyonce's side, and I think to this day he still helps with her choreo.
I'll Google it. In the meantime, like, when you say, like, I bodied that, or she bodied that, does that derive from the song, or am I tripping?
No. And I was gonna try to make a connection, but it genuinely does not.
It's just like, no, that's not.
Get Me Bodied. I would say that Get Me Bodied is almost in its own little island.
Okay.
Of like, no one really uses it the way that she's using it here.
She did that.
Like, I ain't worried.
Antonio Spinelli, by the way.
Okay, period.
Oh, and he's toured with Rosalia.
Oh, I love Rosalia.
That's great.
And we'll get to the other song, but there's some dancers down here that are still on tour with her. But I think Get Me Bodied, as far as the meaning, she's like, I ain't worried doing me tonight, a little stressed, I never hurt nobody, why I'm standing on the wall. Oh, it's dancing. It's like, I don't want you now, get me bodied. I think it's just about dancing.
It sounds like she's saying get embodied, too.
Yeah, there is sort of like a wordplay happening in some of the
get
phrases.
Me Bodied is... Wait, so what does it mean? I'm dancing?
I'm going to look at the lyrics right now. They're right here.
Also, this is the one with Solange and...
Yeah, Mission
Destiny's
1.
Child. Yeah.
When you see me in the stress, I'm going to get me some. Tell them get the body. Okay, no, it's about fucking.
It's about
we
fucking.
do it all the time, yeah. Leave a couple hundred, a little sweat never hurt nobody while y'all stand out on the wall. I'm the one tonight getting bodied. She's saying getting bodied.
Want my body, won't you get me bodied?
Yeah, you want
so
my body,
like,
won't you get me bodied? Can you get me bodied? I want to be myself tonight, won't you get me bodied? I want to let it out tonight.
I think I'm getting there.
It's mostly just a physical. I think it's just about between like, dancing, being flirty.
Squeeze and dance and
but I do love the video. It's very nostalgic of what era is that? Bob Fosse. Was that 60s?
Yeah, that's Fosse. That's like 60s. Yeah, 60s. Because it's kind of Mad Men.
Yeah. It's like it's very early 60s.
It's like the
twiggy.
50s are over.
It's very twiggy.
And there is sex in the world, but it's still like polished and a little like...
But it's pre-Woodstock. It's pre like World War.
It's not hippie.
No, it's pre like
60s,
Vietnam War.
It's like maybe late 60s, early 70s.
See, but I would think that...
Or maybe just 60s. I don't know.
I think that the earlier 60s were closer to like the more like sexualized housewife looking thing.
Yeah.
And then the latter was like the British invasion.
More
like,
mod,
and
Twiggy.
Twiggy, but like, no, I think the mod is the early, right?
Oh. Wait, I'm on glue.
To me, I think when I think of the mod of it all, I think of the early, like Jimmy Neutron's mom,
okay.
like very.
Okay, sure.
And then the latter is
a little more.
That's when it became just like Sly and the Family Stone, like Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles, Woodstock, Bob Dylan, like. And
so this is somewhere
before that was the whole like.
Yeah,
the very Twiggy. But also Twiggy was part of the British invasion, and so maybe
it's kind of hard. It all blends.
It all blends. It's the 60s, but So I think
it's tea.
It's tea.
We
it's
love
perfect.
this song,
and the music video
is
the deluxe edition.
Oh, it is.
It's longer than the song on Spotify because it's got
I remember that.
Drop down low. And remember she brought out Solange at Coachella to do the
For Homecoming.
Yes.
I fucking could have gone to that for free, and I didn't.
I mean,
And
to be
it's
honest, I
bad.
hate music festivals.
So do I. That's why I didn't go.
I don't think I could do
and
it.
I didn't know that it. I mean, I
then
knew
trekking
Beyonce was.
there,
It was just like the trek, and I'd have had to find housing and a car, and like my allergies.
The ticket's not even the problem. It's
all of that.
all the other
yeah.
money.
But it's one of my great regrets in life is like I had a press pass and I didn't go because I would still have had to buy a flight and housing and all of that.
With which
when I was
channel?
still at OUT, I think.
yeah.
I think that was like my final days at OUT.
Shit.
Was Homecoming.
They used to send the girls to.
They sent the girls. I saw Gaga Joanne era 2017 for free.
Damn.
Yeah, but I mean, I had to pay for flights and stuff. It was just the ticket, the press ticket.
But anyway. I do love Get Me Bodied. I will say I liked it a lot more at the time. It's not one of my favorites off the album right now. I think that
that's interesting.
It's maybe a little more. To me, maybe it's my association with the song, but it feels a little more timely, even though it's mod and it's like a callback.
Yeah,
it feels a little more timely.
Okay, so Sugar Mama. I love this video.
The video's
her hips gyrating on the pole,
and she's on the mechanical bull, and she's doing.
Which was me in LA and on the bull that Miranda rides. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
I saw that online.
Yeah.
I'm also shocked she's not doing the full song of Sugar Mama on Cowboy Carter because that just could go along with this thing.
Fits.
And she rides a mechanical bull in Cowboy Carter, like on the tour. She's riding a golden mechanical bull that like.
Does she like? Is this kind of like an art pop or a chromatica to her, where she like doesn't give it its flowers?
She hates B-Day.
She hates B-Day.
Let's talk about the fact that B-Day's her art pop.
B-Day's her art pop,
but art pop isn't Gaga's best album. I don't think.
No.
But
I mean, I love art pop, but it's not her best album.
I don't understand. And
Gaga's best album to me is Born This Way, I think.
I could see that.
I mean, or Fame Monster, or like low-key chromatica.
Oh, no. We're going to have to disagree on that one. I think that it
or
could
art
be
pop or the Fame.
It could be Fame Monster. It
or
could be the
Stars
Fame.
Born
It could
This
be
Way.
Mayhem, or it could be
Mayhem.
Born This Way. I don't think it's Joanne or Chromatica.
I think Chromatica is really
Harlequin.
strong.
It's Harlequin.
Harlequin I won't speak to.
No, we won't talk about that.
Harlequin I won't talk about. That's the one thing you can't make.
She's off limits.
I don't talk about.
But wait,
that shit.
Sugar Mama though, she does not like this album. And on this tour, she did it on Renaissance when I saw her. She does this. It's like a joke with the audience now. You know, she'll like make little inside things.
Oh, okay.
After like nights of doing it and seeing audience reaction on tweets. So she does this thing where she'll do the music intro to Freakum Dress where it's like, and they go, stop, I ain't ready. You know that part?
Yeah.
She'll play that and then be like, and then it'll just go to an actual Cowboy Carter song. She teases Freakum Dress.
She
and then
teased
doesn't
it in that
do
way?
it. I remember seeing the movie when I was there. I was like, she played it and she did the like, she went as far as to do the like, stop, I ain't ready yet. And by the time it gets to, I think I'm ready, she just goes into a different song.
See, Freakum Dress is... So, okay, full disclosure, I don't know the deep cuts of B-Day well.
I know all of them.
I don't.
Word for
so
word.
I went and did the research like today, listened to it all day.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say I love Freakum Dress.
Yeah.
And I love the message of Freakum Dress. If every woman has one. And so I put on mine, which is this green dress that many listeners will know what I'm talking about just from hearing the color
you have
green.
this on.
It's like,
I was
this is my
supposed to
dress.
wear mine, but then I genuinely forgot.
Yeah. Anyway, so Sugar Mama.
One thing about Sugar Mama is where I forgot to mention it, which is a huge point that I want to talk about. She is an architect. She is building bridges. Every single song on this album has a very important bridge that is incredible. So in Deja Vu, you've got the "Baby, I can't go anywhere," and then Get Me Body is like I forget it right now, but Sugar Mama is the oh god, it's the
How does it go?
It's the wait,
Sugar Mama. I wouldn't know. I only really heard Sugar Mama for the first
it's
time
so
today.
high that I like can't sing it. Oh, Sugar Mama.
I'm learned doing me tonight.
Oh, this.
Oh, that's pretty.
She just has really, really good bridges all throughout this
Yeah,
album. I'll tell
she's a
you
bridge
when we get to
builder.
my favorite one.
She goes to the bridges of Terabithia.
She really does,
Yeah.
but they don't break like that one did.
Oh shit, is that how Anna Sophia Robb dies?
Doesn't she fall off a
I
bridge?
think- or yeah.
Something like
One of them
She
is
goes in water
a
somehow. I
goner,
think.
yeah.
One of them goes.
Josh Hutcherson.
But Sugar Mama, I think, is such a classic rockabilly. This is Azealia Banks' favorite song on this album.
Really?
Fun fact. She's talked at length about it. This is
Azzy.
also, I think, her favorite album by Beyonce. So we're in
So we're in sync.
We're in good company.
I have. We'll get to our album rankings after the songs. Yeah.
But I love Sugar Mama. Wish she made more music. Well, Cowboy Heart is very similar to this, so I loved it.
So Upgrade You.
Okay. Yeah.
Major moment for everyone involved.
Everyone involved. That was the moment. I remember where I was, and it was my mom she was like a reading counselor, so she didn't have like a classroom. She had a setaway room near the library, and so she would like train the students that weren't reading on the right level or whatever. She was doing like private, but also teaching some classes. Yeah. So she was at my school that I went to, which is also very informative because talk about surveillance. Yeah. So we spent every waking moment together.
No wonder you were surveilled.
Oh my God.
She was at your damn school.
And I couldn't keep secrets. You know how hard it is to come out at the school your mom's working at? I mean, not that I was going to come out in middle school because I was afraid to.
When did you come out?
Ooh. Well, there was when my mom like found evidence of me doing or having gay conversations or whatever, which was the 8th grade. Uh-huh. And then I didn't come out publicly. Like I came out to like 3 friends that I had in high school. Yeah. And then
college.
Well, the moment that when I was a senior and I got into Berkeley early acceptance with scholarship.
Oh, so we did body the damn tea.
I went to do my audition at Berkeley and I got in 11 days later. And none of my other friends that I had met in the summer program or the auditions had gotten in yet. So I got in 11 days after I auditioned. It was insane. Early admission. I played my own original music at the audition. I was 16 years old, and I did
that's what happens when you live in a surveillance state. You have your songs ready to go.
I wasn't partying in high school. I fucking was at practice.
See, I wasn't partying or practicing my craft. I was like, what was I doing? I was jerking off to straight porn.
I wish I was. I had no time for that. I was volunteering at nursing homes playing saxophone while they ate lunch. I was doing so much. I was doing church and I was doing this, that. So I got pretty good and I was like doing all these competitions and I was playing for money. I was in this like touring group of all older Black people that like we would do Motown reviews.
What?
Uh-huh. I was doing like, if I was your woman.
If I was a boy.
Yes. No, so I was really doing my craft and I got in. And so then once I got in and I knew that I was leaving, I talked to my mom and I was like, she's like, we're going to make this happen. And like, you're going to go to that school. And that was the only school I applied to. So I got in and it was like all bets were off. I just became like so femme. I became such a bitch. That's when I started to be myself. Yeah. I was just like...
It was like, I'm going here. I'm going to Boston where the femme bitches do their work.
It was in like our town paper. It was like, they announced it over the intercom because it was like, we had like 2 kids that got into Harvard, but like of that, it was like it was such a low acceptance rate at the time. Now it's grown a lot, but because online school and they have another campus now.
Harvard?
No, Berkeley was when I was in high school, it was just like one of the lower acceptance rates.
Got you.
Like from my high school. But anyway, no, so I was obsessed. But Upgrade You. So I was in my mom's office, tucked away from the library. And I remember it was like either after school or before. I think it was after. And she was in a meeting off somewhere. So I knew I had like some time with a computer. Yeah. And especially because it wasn't her computer. It was like, right. No, I think like it was funny because this was at a time where like YouTube wasn't yet blocked from like the school Wi-Fi. Yeah. I think it probably on some cases it would be now. Or I think in high school it was blocked. Yeah. But yeah, you could just watch it. And there was no discerning whether or not something was like an inappropriate
and
YouTube
so you
video.
hit Upgrade You.
I ran into Upgrade You. And I just remember like the melody and everything. I had just not heard anything like that. Like, I can do for you what mine did for the people. Ran by the wind. I just thought that was such like, at the time, I was like, this is Fiona Apple.
Bridges.
I hadn't heard that much music. Oh my God, the autumn up again. Watch. Yeah. I mean, and she's sitting in again. She's coming out of that like lake or whatever in the cave, and she's like soaking wet, but her body is glistening.
She's so hot.
And then she's in the back of the car, but she's like a stud because she's playing Jay-Z, and so she's got like she's manspreading with her like cane, and she's got grills in, and I thought that was so sexy.
Well, this one's interesting because it's like the whole thing is like, oh, after Dina, I wanted to write a feminist thing where she's empowered, and this song is a little kind of like, I want to be like
I want to be a man,
housewife / man. Like, but like,
you think?
No, well, she's like, you can play the lead role, and I will
let you. No, it's
like, what am I
play my part, but let you take the lead role. Yeah, I think it's more so her saying. It's like, I feel like right she's off the back of Sugar Mama. It's kind of similar, where she's like, I'm gonna make you a better man. So if you
because it turns her on.
She was like, if you want to be with me and if you want to feel like you have to take the lead role, you've got to step your pussy up.
Yeah.
And by the way, the man that I'm with right now has his pussy stepped up.
Well, I kind of see it as like, it's almost a role play for her of like, I'm the one in charge. Like, I'm in
kind of
power.
the breadwinner. Yeah.
I'm the breadwinner, but like, let's pretend like you have...
I think it's role play for her, but maybe not a let's pretend situation. I think it's like I do wear the pants.
Let's elevate you. Let's upgrade you to my level. You,
but like, just know you can feel like you wear the pants, but just know that I'm that bitch.
Okay, I'm getting you.
And like, so if you're gonna be seen with me, you have to know that you're with that bitch. And then you know what? Maybe you dom me, and we can we get in the bedroom, we do whatever. Like, and I'll be your little like sexy wife.
It's actually kind of a theme of her music.
It's it's very interesting. Where she's like, no, I am
she's
like
toying with those traditional gender roles, but she's always kind of winking as she does it.
This was that, and I think the drag and all of the like her rapping Jay-Z's verse, lip syncing it was like part of that kind of like, right, like he's in control, right?
Yeah,
like not at the camera. And at the time, I didn't understand what all that meant. I just knew that she was talking about like rich people shit. But just that video of her in the fur in the back with the ponytail, where she's sitting there like bumping her like chest back and forth. 25
years old. Imagine looking like that at 25 or 24 or whenever she was there. Or at any age
looking like that.
At any fucking age.
No, so that was my intro, and I think that was my favorite at the time.
Okay, so then we go to Ring the Alarm, which
maybe the loudest song
is loud.
Ring the Alarm.
It's a loud one.
It comes out the gate with the siren. Thank you.
It does. Which ACAB, by the way, we're here.
Well, ACAB, but I mean, they were arresting her. So, listen, free black women. No, she was getting arrested in that video. I can't imagine being the person in charge of having to, like, manhandle Beyonce for a music video and her actually have to strain against your pull.
Wait, was this the video that I just watched?
Where she looked 25. She looks like 5 years old.
Yeah. Oh, and she's wearing like a white crop top and jeans and like her waist.
When she's walking around the house with like the fake kind of window that looks like waves are crashing in the back. Yeah. And she's like, ooh, also the bridge.
So
how
good.
Can you look at me and only see other things? Or something just food. How did you like it, baby? But this is my show. And I won't let you go. Is it faithful?
I'm gonna say, like, of all the songs on the album, like, this one I don't feel I had ever heard before today.
I think, well, that's crazy.
Which is fucked up.
Well, there's your homework is there's a very important live performance of this, and I'm blanking, it might have been MTV, but where she basically does this in the same exact, that, like, kind of like that, like Sherlock Holmes, like, trench coat that she was wearing when they're pulling her around.
A vest.
So she comes down from the ceiling in that look. And then the cops grab her, they pull her over, and then she does, like, essentially Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation, like a stomp dance in the middle of the song.
She was referencing that in some live...
Multiple things.
Yeah, lots of things.
She's referenced Janet so many times. But she does do, like, the most iconic performance of this. But I think at the time, that was one of the songs, too, where I was like... I had heard a lot of, like, next to R&B things, but to me, this was a fusion that I just didn't understand. I think that was the first time I heard, like, a woman scream on a track. And, like, scream lyrics like, and sound that angry. I'm thinking Khalees, I hate you so much right now. I hate you. That song?
Yeah.
It was, but I hadn't heard that yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, this is so, it was so new for me to hear that. And I thought the melody lines, like, even what I just sang that bridge, like, so unique, so, like...
Well, here's something. Beyonce, I think, especially at this point in her career, I think now we're at a point where basically everyone is aware, like, oh, Beyonce is willing to experiment, is a boundary-pushing artist who is trying lots of different things with her voice, with her lyrics, with her messaging, with her production. Like, she is a boundary pusher. She's not just like a classic
and she's picking really funky beats.
She's picking funky beats. But I think back then, many people wouldn't have necessarily guessed that about her. But if you listen, it's actually like she has always been kind of like pushing her sound in as many different directions as she can and experimenting.
I mean, this isn't this podcast, but fucking Single Ladies. If I heard that beat and someone sent me that, I would think that they made that on like a child's like toy keyboard that you get them like that only has like one sound on it. I mean, but for her to recognize the potential, even her, like, that Diplo song that, like, Run the World, so the backing track to that was the Diplo song that he made, and I was like, can you imagine hearing that and being like, there's a melody line I can put over this? Like, it's not even in a key, like, really. No, it's just kind of like... she's an But this is one of those songs, the beat is like, I think there's a siren throughout the whole thing that, like... Yeah.
And whenever I hear sirens in songs, like, there's a siren that happens at one point in, like, a Haim song that I listen to a lot, and every time I'm like, oh, is there a I think I'm fine to sirens. What I need to stop in music is gunshots. Oh. I need us to stop the gunshots in music, specifically hip hop, because when I'm at the club and you hear like I mean at this point we live in America. I don't want to hear a gun in the club, even if it is fake and it's for a song. I feel guns should all be set down and melted.
Well,
that's where I'm at. Like,
and it baffles my mind that we're not doing that. But also armed trans women.
Trans women.
But they melt their guns.
Machetes.
With knives. No, for real. Knives.
Wait, because I know some trans people that shouldn't have there's a sword in here.
Is there really? Like a katana? Like...
I could pull it out for you. I did it for the podcast guest last night. There's a sword because I did a photo shoot and we rented a sword that I have to return.
I'm dead. I want to see it afterwards.
I'll show you after.
But my last thing about Ring the Alarm is that I love her, the way this is kind of her intro to, like, she's not rapping, but you know how she, like, kept dabbling more into, like, I'm gonna kind of rap in songs, like, the more
she was considering it.
I think that listening to how she enunciates things incorrectly, like, she go be rocking, she go be rocking chinchilla coats if I let you go, it's in the back or the like
chinchilla coats are huge at this time.
Oh, and she's wearing multiple in the videos.
What does Jay-Z say about chinchilla? My best fur is the best fur chinchilla.
The texture
is the best fur chinchilla.
Does he say chinchilla? Wait, what song is that?
That is a song. I don't know if it's on this album. My texture is the best fur chinchilla.
He does say that. I don't know if it's...
Because, you know, in like middle school, chinchilla was the thing. It was like, that's the softest animal. You know what I mean?
And there was like one rich girl in everyone's school that like maybe had a chinchilla.
Had chinchillas in it, but it's like, if you touch them, they'll die.
And you're like, they're dead. They're going to go ahead and be dead.
They're gone.
But I love Ring the Alarm. And at the time I understood it. I was like, she's operating on a different level.
Good morning to the babbles of the world. We divided the app into 2 parts for your nerve. So, we'll see you next week for part 2 of B-Day, which will be the grand finale before summer break. Love ya.
I'm gonna talk about all the things that I wanna talk about. We'll just keep talking.